This is a demonstration of the GeoSketch tools to import Pictometry images. The first tool uses the Pictometry online interface. And here we see an area in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're displaying north-facing oblique images. Once we've got an image that we want to download, we just select this button to download the current image. And depending on which browser you're using, it might require you to respond to a prompt on that download. And once we've downloaded that image, we use the arrow to rotate around to a different orientation. So now we're looking at west-facing images, and we'll go ahead and select to download that current image. It's important to keep track of this red marker. When we use these arrows to rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise, the rotation will be done about the center of the image, which is designated by this red marker. So now we'll rotate around to the south-facing images. We've downloaded the north and the west. Here's the south-facing image, and we'll select to download that. And it's important to wait for each image to download before you select to download another image. So now we've got the south image, and we'll display the east-facing images, and we'll download that. And then we want to switch from oblique images to ortho or back. We use this button. So select that now to look at an ortho image, and we'll choose to download that one. And we're accumulating a list of all the images that we've downloaded. We have 5 images, and then once we're done, we select Save List, and it saves a file that describes each of those images. We could proceed to clear the list and download another set, or we can return to GeoSketch. And then we use the next icon, which is to import the Image Navigator results. Double click on the GIN file that was created, and it will load the ortho and the oblique images in their proper orientations so that we're ready to start constructing a model from them. Now the third tool for importing Pictometry is to use an image warehouse. First I'll load in a model that has a nadir image of Charlotte, North Carolina. Then we'll go to the image warehouse tool, and this is stored on disk. And it will work with either standard metadata or extended metadata. I'll select the standard metadata shapefiles. There's 2 shapefiles, one for oblique images and one for ortho. There could be more shapefiles, or it could all be in one single shapefile. There's also a projection.txt file, which describes the data that's in the shapefiles. So select one of them. Here's the contents of the projection.txt file, and we can just take the defaults with that. And here we can choose to load in either the single shapefile that I selected or to load in both the shapefiles, which I'll do. Now we have our filter options. We can choose which type of option that we're seeing the footprints for, how we will select it. In this case I'll choose just to show the one that's closest to this being centered on the cursor. And then I can choose to either zoom to the extents or zoom directly to the image as I load it, or to do no zoom. And I'll just move my cursor around to see the coverage of the various footprints. If I want to do this Duke Energy building, then I'll select that to load in that ortho. Now I'll remove that larger nadir image, and I'll change my cursor such that I'm now looking at footprints for north-facing oblique images, and I'll choose to zoom to the extents as I load an image. And I'll also select the option to show all the footprints that contain the cursor. Now as I move around, I can see all the local footprints. I can let the cursor be still and then just use the arrows to flip through the various images that contain the cursor, or I can just move it around, and once I have selected the one I want to load, just left click. There's that north facing image, and I'll change to south facing, and I'll look for the footprints that contain that Duke Energy building. And in some cases you might need to load multiple images to get the coverage that you need from one direction, so I might select this one as well. And if you don't like the image, you can simply right click on it to delete it. And I'll change my filter for the wet east facing images and look at the footprint to see the coverage. Select that one, and then finally set it for the west facing image, and use the arrow to flip to the one that I want, that one, and load that image. So that concludes the functions for importing Pictometry images.